What's going on, everyone? Jim here from the Quartering, and in one of the absolute best possible outcomes, the best possible woke collapses, backfires, whatever you want to say, several colleges, due to the campus unrest, have now accelerated divesting from diversity, equity, and inclusion. And one said college, the college with those ultra Chad bros that protected the American flag, not only did they divest from DEI, which was $2.4 million that they had allocated towards it, they gave it to cops. You cannot make this up. And it's just, obviously the meltdown is real. Everything's great. I want to see more of this. We saw a lot of kind of this divestment from the initial kind of woke push during, with all these university professors. Of course, there's always going to be woke universities, woke professors, things like that. That's, normal, I guess, these days. But capitalism is still the king in this country. And we saw universities that got woke, like Evergreen College, completely collapse. Mizzou, which was one of the headquarters for a lot of the social unrest during St. Floyd's ascension upon high, having to close, I think, 3 or 4 entire dormitories because, people didn't want to send their students there. So universities got the hint and they're acting fast. I suspect enrollments had been plummeting. UNC Chapel Hill Board votes to dismantle DEI programs. Not only that, to use the funds on campus police after anti-Israel protests. What an incredible ode. They could have put that money anywhere else, but they gave it to cops. You just can't make this stuff up. Leave a like on the video if you haven't yet. And wherever you're watching, please do subscribe or follow. It helps immensely. It's really, really hard to reach new people out there. And it's hard enough to reach the ones that have already subscribed. So please do consider. And all the content creators that you watch. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill Board of Trustees reportedly voted Monday to dismantle its entirety diversity, equity, and inclusion program and transfer millions of existing funding to public safety and campus police. The unanimous decision by the trustees will reallocate 2.3. I'm sorry, it was 2.4. I thought it was 2.4. I remember what I said. I think I said 2.4. $2.3 million that the university spends on DEI programs towards police and public safety measures as part of its annual budget approval process. That means everybody in DEI is now out of a job and they have to sit at home and think about how they've been replaced by a cop. Last fiscal year, UNC Chapel Hill's operating budget, now think about this, exceeded $4 billion. Outside of like governments and a handful of super huge mega corporations, can you think of anybody else who has an operating budget in the billions? Quote, my personal opinion is that there's administrative bloat in the university. Board Chair David Baliak told the News and Observer, anticipating some jobs would also be scrapped as a result. Any cuts in administration and diverting dollars to rubber meets the road efforts like public safety and teaching is important. Well, of course it is. And by the way, this isn't the only university. This has sparked immediate people immediately following suit because, ultimately, people don't want to send their students to schools where they're going to be unsafe. And while, look, as far as I know, no students were like permanently damaged outside of mentally maybe from these protests, it doesn't matter. That's not what was on the news every night, screaming, frothing, foaming at the mouth, leftists with brand new towels covering their faces, or imported agitators. These were the ones on the headlines, not the peaceful ones, if there were any. I hope there were some. None of them existed in the minds of parents who have to take out loans to cover their kids, cover their kids' tuition. Though he noted that the policy was under construction before the protests reached a fever pitch at campus across the county, Trustee Mary Cotis said law enforcement needed more funding following the demonstrations that began at UNC Chapel Hill last month. What a spectacular backfire. What a spectacular backfire. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, these idiots hate cops so much that they end up like, what? I mean, it couldn't be a bigger, better backfire. All of their little buddies in the administrative departments at these colleges are getting fired, and they're getting replaced with cops. Quote, it's important to consider the needs of all 30,000 students, not just the 100 or so that want to disrupt the university operations. Fox News Digital reached out to the university and board of trustees for added comment. Monday's special meeting came before the UNC Board of Governors, which oversees all 17 public universities in the state, is expected to vote on restricting DEI programs statewide, which is what's going to happen. It's going to get restricted statewide. The 5-person committee of university governance already voted last month to reverse and replace a policy related to DEI, but the full board will vote. Of course, it's going to get repealed. It's going to get completely shut down. It's already happening in other states. Florida has their own, what is it called? Yeah. Florida prohibits DEI earlier this year in public colleges amid stop woke legal battles. Look, again, if you're a private university, if you're like Evergreen College or whatever the case is, and you want to dedicate money to woke prospects, woke concepts, woke ideology, you're welcome to do that. Once you are taking my money via tax dollars, tax subsidies, in university endowments and things of that nature, then I don't want that. I don't want you to take my tax dollars and churn out communists that are going to be a problem for me and other law-abiding citizens in the streets. It's just not a normal thing to do. I don't want it. Nobody wants it. Remember, the Florida Board of Education passed regulations limiting the use of public funds for DEI programs, activities, and policies in the public college system. The board defines DEI as any program, campus activity, or policy that identifies individuals on based on race, color, nation of origin, all this stuff. This is how big it is in these universities. Look at this. George Mason University, okay? Just one university. George Mason University has nearly 100 DEI staffers. 100. Let's say they all make 70 grand a year. Do the math, right? Nearly $1 million a year they're paying to these idiots that add no value. None. George Mason has 87 staffers working on DEI. In efforts to put to analysis a college to fix, to put that in perspective, there are 59 full-time history and art professors and 87 DEI. They have more people working in DEI than professors. I mean, does this seem normal to you? No, of course not. Of the 87 DEI posts, it's a mix of employees and students with full or part-time positions working to advance DEI in some capacity. DEI is a joke. It doesn't do anything. It is a product, and I promise you, we are in. Now, I don't fearmonger on this channel. I know a lot of people, I make fun of Timmy for his Civil War constantly stuff. Okay. But make no mistake about it. I just retweeted a story that Americans went from $1.7 trillion in excess cash in the year 2000 to a negative $80 billion in just 4 or 5 years. I think it was 10 years from 2020 to, no, it was only 4 years. So erased their entire cash savings, gone. And people thought, oh, well, they're doing this because they're paying off their debt. Wrong. They weren't paying off their debt because credit card debt soared to record highs during that same period of time. We are in for a tough time. Be smart with your money. That's all I'm saying. It's it's May 2024. There's enough time still to be smart with it. I'm not saying, start eating beans and rice every day. But I'm saying just be smart with how you spend your money. Maybe hold off until after the election before you make any major purchases. I, for one, I was going to build an outbuilding, a studio for the channel because I do my live stream every day at 5:30, which I hope you'll tune into over on the Mean Green website as well as Quartercast. I stream every. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do that. That was obviously a much bigger expense, but maybe that lawnmower can last another year. Maybe that car can last another year. Nobody has any money in the bank. And What do you think is going to happen? DEI is a product of bloat. Okay. Programs, that's why you have all these HR departments with 1,000 employees in them. It was a function of these companies having way too much money. And so they would invest in administration. That's essentially what they did. They invested in admin and people got all these DEI jobs. They fabricated a job that adds no value to society. What's going to happen when things get tight? People start going to community colleges or trade schools because they don't want their kids to get, turned into communists. All these DEI people are going to be gone. I love that they gave the money to the cops too. Absolutely amazing. Universities are completely infected, and I think the smart ones. It's like the malls on the edges of the city. I live in Milwaukee, or outside of Milwaukee. There used to be a mall called Northridge. It was hustling and bustling with all the middle-aged white women from the suburbs. Well, they didn't put enough security guards in there, and all it took was basically one little old lady getting robbed in the parking lot, and that was it for Northridge, and the mall's now a ghost town that's just rotting away. It's completely closed. There's another mall in Milwaukee called Mayfair. What did they do? They immediately hired like 100 security guards and put all sorts of rules about, no under 18s in there without after 5 o'clock, all this, because they knew, right? That's exactly what's going to happen with these universities. They're going to start cutting these programs because they know that they are a literal death sentence, that you're going to see Columbia, and all these schools, MIT, people don't want to go there. People don't want their kids to go there to be radicalized. They don't want to go to schools that make the front pages for, disruptive idiots pretending to be on hunger strikes. So I, for one, am absolutely 100% for this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.